Still talking about equivalence, of course. In equivalence, we have looked at a word and its meaning and the lexical meaning of it. And we've seen that there are four meanings to lexical meanings to the word, which is evoked, presupposed, expressive, and propositional. And propositional, of course, it's either true or false. And you have to, then that is definitely an inaccurate translation if you make a mistake in that kind of thing. If you say between complain and whinge, of course, it's a matter of which one is more emotional and more feeling related and attitude related. And of course, the presupposed, when there is an environment around it which dictates what kind of objective adjective that you have to be using for that particular word, if it is a human object or inanimate object, so the adjective will be different. The final one is the evoked. We talked about register and we talked about dialects, and dialects is to do with geographical, temporal, and social. And also for the register, there are three elements, which are the field of discourse and the tenor of discourse, which is the interpersonal relationship between people, as in the case of father and son and doctor and patient. And of course, in the going back to the field of discourse, it depends which field you're talking about, whether it's sports, fashion, or any other field. And finally, of course, the mode of discourse, which is whether it's actually spoken or written form that you need to be providing this translation in. And also if it is going to be a speech, or it's going to be an essay, or it's going to be a lecture, depending on which one, that will be reflected in the translation itself, and it will be, you need to be aware of it because it can change slightly in its style. Another point about the equivalence is sometimes it's that you come across a word that has no equivalent, like no equivalence. Here it's a problem. So what you need to do is to look for what's called, excuse me, it's called semantic fields. You go to the semantic fields of the word. Let me just show you here and demonstrate this. Semantic fields, meaning that we are talking about, they are more of an abstract fields or conceptual fields, and they are called semantic fields. Example, for example, in the field of speech, or in the field of plants, or in the field of vehicles, for example. There are other fields in many languages, like in distance, size, shape, time, emotion, beliefs, academic subjects, natural phenomena. All of these are fields which has got different semantic, these are semantic fields which has different set of words. And the set of words are called lexical sets. So each field is divided or subdivided into the actual words and expressions, which are sometimes called lexical sets. So there's a group of words that go under, that goes under a semantic field, a specific one. For example, in speech, in English, they have subdivisions of verbs of speech, such as speak, say, and there will be more specific ones, such as mumble, murmur, mutter, whisper. All of these are different variations or different under the same actually semantic field. They are from the lexical, they are a lexical set under that field, which is speech. So you can choose one of them when you are translating, and they can be, because there are general ones and there are more specific ones. The words speak and say are more general, whereas the more specific ones are mumble, murmur, mutter, damdama, ghamghama, hamasa, qala, tahaddatha. So all of these under speech. So you choose one of them. So if you don't have an equivalent, you can't find an equivalent for a specific word in the other language. Here are more of these sets. For example, there's about temperature. You got cold, cool, hot, warm. These are the main ones. Of course, in Arabic, you will have cool and cold are similar. بارد. ممكن يعني واحد يقول مثلج if it is very very cold. Icy. حار means hot, and of course في ساخن أيضا, and it is used for hot as for objects, and حار for the weather, and دافئ and lukewarm. For example, there's lukewarm, not only warm. So you see there are different levels of that. Also there's icy, freezing, boiling, searing, mild, moderate. All of these words that are under the same, under temperature, and they don't have an equivalent, may not have. يعني قيض, غليان, متجمد, متجلد, okay, خفيف, معتدل. All of these ones that are relating to that. Also in, the same. But when we talk about collocations, however, hot feelings, for example, you say, you can't say, you don't say hot feelings, for example, you say hot temper or hot tempered. يعني مزاجه حامي. Okay? يعني نزق. And there are also collocations, which we'll come to discuss later on. Collocations means two words that come together usually. And a good example of collocations, أصلح الفاسد أو رتق الفتق أو شعب الصدق صدع الصدع. And شعب الصدع ورتق الفتق وإصلاح الفاسد. These are collocations that come in the Arabic which are matching them. So in actual fact, these semantic fields that have got lexical sets can help in translation, especially if you've got general words and you've got specific words. Like, for example, if you are driving a Volvo, if somebody says he's driving a Volvo, now if you translate it as هو يقود سيارة, then you are going to the superordinate, the general word, which is سيارة. And under سيارة, there are certain types. Under that vehicle, there are certain types which are Volvo and different other, Nissan and Volkswagen and so on. So you can go for the hyponym, which is the most specific word, or you can go to the general word if you can't find a specific word. This is one strategy of when you are not actually finding an equivalent, so you can actually go for the hyponym. If you can't find the hyponym, you go to the superordinate, which is the more general word. So it's a kind of hierarchy there, going from the more general to the more specific, or the other way around. As in the case of vehicles, of course, vehicle is مركبة, but then مركبة is a superordinate, يعني اسم عام. But then you can go under مركبة, there is bus, car, truck, coach, etc. And these are all hyponyms for the word vehicle. There are more about hyponyms. For example, when you come across the word bungalow in English, or cottage, or croft, or chalet, lodge, hut, mansion, manor, villa, hall, all of these are difficult to get their equivalent in Arabic. So these are hyponyms, specific terms. And this is at the word level, you can't find their equivalents. So that is a little bit of a problem. Of course, there are in Arabic ones, excuse me, there is bait, منزل, habitat is another word. For example, home, house, bait, منزل, dar, dara means villa, second, accommodation, مسكن, مسكن, accommodation again, or residence, and then عزبة, which is state, or you can say manor, and كوخ, which can be very close to the word cottage. But there are also in Arabic, there are many words for the word lion, for example, ليث, وأسد, وضرغام, and these, they have only one word in English, which is lion. So here is an issue of finding an equivalent in English for Arabic words. Another element, for example, in Arabic, for example, the word sword, there is saber and other types of swords in English, and there are also types of swords in Arabic, like Saif, Muhannad, Hussam, and then also you've got vultures, different birds of prey, like الصقر, eagle, الباز, الشاهين, العقاب, and Nisr. So all of them can be eagle, vultures, different vultures. So you are actually looking at different kind of birds in Arabic, and you're finding their equivalent. So you can go for their equivalent, which is either a hyponym in a target language, or it can be a superordinate, which is a general one here. Again, for verbs like jump, for example, more specific words will be leap, vault, spring, bounce, dive, clear, plunge, plummet. All of these may have in Arabic قفز, نط, وثب, but there is no more, hop, there is hopping as well, يثب, الوثب, so it is an issue of hyponym and superordinate, which can solve this issue in there as well. And there are many other ones that are relating to that one about equivalences here, but at the word level, de facto, for example, there is a foreign word, in English it's a foreign word, which means a reality, فعليا, tour de force, which is a feat, إنجاز فذ, but you see that is in French, taken from French in English, but then when you translate it, it's not, the Frenchness is not there. This is another issue about foreign words in the ST, not in the TT. Par excellence, بامتياز, and per se, by itself, جوهريا, أو carte blanche, وقع على بياض, but you see there is an element of foreignness in the source text, which cannot be found its equivalent in the target language as well. Moving on very quickly, I will move on later on to the collocations and the idioms.